I think you get to a certain point in life where it's like, am I using my time right? Am I focusing my time on the things that I should be focusing them on? Feeling like time is passing by really fast and
Hmm.
like, okay, am I using my energy towards things that I'm going to be proud of or not? I
Hmm.
don't know,
Hmm.
just not feeling like, I hate to say satisfied with where I'm at, but just feeling like, man, I just want some clarity. Like, I wish somebody could just come down and be like, yo, this is what you need to be doing. This is the next 3 moves that you need to make. These are where you need to be putting your energy. Like, I was getting really
Hmm.
anxious this week, not having some of that, just feeling like I really don't know what I should be putting my time towards. And I've been putting my time in certain things and I'm not sure if they're going to pan out.
Yeah, that's interesting because I was thinking about that this week too. Because I think my thing, and we talked about like working on our flaws before, but I think my thing is like working on, like you said, where to put your energy and stuff like that, and just like, because this the thing, like at the end of the day, we only had 24 hours in a day, and I think that just if I could look back over the last 5 to 10 years, like I don't waste a lot of time just sitting around, like whether it was getting high, whether it was just being on the watching YouTube videos, whether it was just whatever. Like when you
Mm-hmm.
think back on those times, like all the time you wasted, you'd be like, damn, like well, I wonder what I could have did if I really actually used that time, even just like
Yep.
not even the whole time, part of the time to do
Yes.
something, And I think that I was literally just thinking about that yesterday. Like it's not gonna be perfect, but at the same time, you got to do something,
Yep.
to make something shake. So,
And
yeah.
what gives me, I don't know if you feel this way too, but like there are things I remember people being like, oh, it took me 3 years to really get my business up. Da, 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 da. But I've been thinking about this idea 5 years now. I could have started it 5 years ago and it would have blown up or could have had the potential to blow up. And now
Hmm.
I would just be getting started on something that I could have been doing for years.
Yeah, and it gets to the point where it's like, should you even like cry over, or not necessarily cry, but like dwell on lost time? Because I feel like dwelling on lost time is like a waste of more time, and that's my problem though. Because I'd be dwelling on it like, damn, I should have been did this, but then I'm dwelling on it and get sad and depressed, and it's like,
Yep.
no, I'm still not doing what the fuck I need to be doing. You know what I mean? Like
That was
this
me
shit
this
tough.
week. And then you spent all this time dwelling on what you didn't do instead of doing what you can do now. And it becomes a vicious cycle. And it's
Yeah.
hard to also like figure out like, okay, what's the balance of I need to learn from past experiences versus dwelling? Because I do think there's something to the point of like where you were saying, if you notice, oh, man, I lose a lot of time watching YouTube.
A lot.
Okay, cool. Now I know like maybe I need to be more productive during that time. But also it's easy to get stuck in that trap and be like, damn, wow, I spent all these hours watching YouTube, da 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 da. And next thing you know, you're like, I spent a whole day thinking about shit and not actually
Hmm.
accomplishing anything.
And it's like, I think the thing that fucks me up about it is that like it can't. I be wanting to be a switch that I can just turn on and be like, okay, boom, like productive success. Everything is
Yes.
just all in what I'm saying, in sync. But like I said, like it's just really little by little. You just got to chip away at shit. And you know what fucked me up though is that like I had a conversation yesterday. I had the Xfinity guy, the internet dude, come over and like try to make my internet faster and shit like that yesterday. And like he was a cool dude. And then like, but we literally sat here and had like an hour conversation like right over here, like in my kitchen. And like he was just telling, like he was giving me so much game about like, and he knew so much stuff. And it was just like it seems like every time he get off work, he just go home and research and just learn more things about business, about music, about real estate, about all these things. And like he really does the research, and he showed me so many websites that I could utilize to even for the podcast business. Like he showed me so much stuff, and like that shit just fucked me up because I'm like, damn, like I could be using my time um usefully too. Like I could be doing this. Like if he could do it, I could
Mhm.
do it. You know what I mean? So like I hate seeing people succeed sometimes because I be like, damn, like
Yeah.
that sounds like some hater shit, but like
But
it'd be
that's
like,
usually for me where it starts. And my mom brought that up yesterday. She's like, you usually get in these modes when you've been comparing yourself to other people. That is really where it starts.
hmm
And it's hard. It's like
Exactly.
sometimes you can use other people as like motivation,
Hmm.
but also it can really be a deterrent because you're like, damn, well, they already did so much and I'm starting from square one. I might not even try. Like, why try?
Hmm. But they started from square one at the same time, though. Like, I'm really preaching to the choir. 'Cause I need to hear this same shit. But like, they started from square one at some point, so it's like, really, it's time. Like, it's time. Like, do this shit. Like, even yesterday when I like before he even got here, I had did something like a little bit different. Like, I tried to up my video editing skills, and like I edited the video all crazy. It took me so many hours and stuff like that, and that felt good. Like, it's not perfect, but I'm starting from square one with this shit, and it was just like
Mm-hmm.
I did this shit and it felt good. But then I sat around for the rest of the day because I didn't feel like doing shit. But like, like I said, like it's really little by little. You just got to chip away and really just do shit, and it's easier said than done.
Yeah, how do you know what to do?
That's a good question. I don't know. You know how we had a conversation like before about like gatekeepers and like especially in the black community and like getting information from other black people about their success and how they got to places like that's how you can know like but people got to stop gatekeeping and like keeping the information and we talked about that yesterday with bro like he said I'm not no gatekeeper. I'm everywhere I go, every time I go to somebody's crib, like I'm giving the people information and like telling them, oh, getting information about them and being like, oh,
So what does he
that's
do though? Like
he
other than read up on the information, does he
no he got
practice any of that stuff, or like
no most
everything he reads
definitely.
up on he has?
Well, first, this is shorter, so I'll say this. He just bought some property like up the street up there, and like and he was telling me about buying vacant lots and like building a house on it versus looking for a house. Like he was like, oh, you could just buy a vacant lot, get that for like 5 racks, 10 racks, and then build a house on it. So he does that. And also something that's super dope is he has a business with his kids, and like he has his kids like on like in the paperwork and stuff like that, so they'll be able to benefit off of that like when they get older and they still in grade school and so I guess
That's
his daughter
dope.
will tell him like hey this is what I'm thinking for like some artwork. He'll put it into like an AI thing and then the AI will spit out some artwork. They put it on backpacks, t-shirts and stuff like that and they sell it
Wow.
like online. So like he told me he had a lot of streams of income. So
That's awesome.
it is. So to answer your question, how do you know what to do? I mean, you either gotta look it up or somebody gotta put you on game.
Can I go back to what you said about gatekeeping now? Because that's a big one. And I think that's one of the things that like it might be different for women and men. Like this might be a very specific woman example, but that's one of the things that's like very frustrating is you see all these women who are like, I'm a girl boss and I have a clothing line and a hair line and da 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 da. And you're like, oh, okay, sure, I get you have a business. But then you go and you look at the lifestyle that they live and they have a Birkin bag, they're driving a G Wagon,
Hmm.
they, spend a month at a time vacationing in Europe over the summer. And it's like, so how much of this is because you're a nurse, you're a lawyer, or you have a business
Hmm.
versus how much of this is somebody is supplementing your lifestyle? You have a drug dealer boyfriend who is paying for the trips or is, buying you this bag. Like, how much of it is actually off of you? How much of it is an investor? And like I said, I know it's a very specific, like female experience, but it's frustrating because you're comparing yourselves to people where you're like, all right, we're in the same age range. I think we have, like, I know the level of education that I have and experience that I have and how much money I've touched in my lifetime. And I'm like, I ain't done this.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, like, give me the game. Is it actually because you're a nurse or is it because you got a scammer boyfriend?
So do you feel like I feel like that I mean if it's a scam or boyfriend or drug dealing boyfriend, that's kind of dangerous to tell that. But like if it's some sugar daddy shit, like I feel like women should give the game up. Go on this website right here, get your profile like this, boom, boom, boom. Cause like that's the game. The game is the game. So
Yeah.
like women don't be giving game on that.
You know, very, very rarely. A girl that I follow on YouTube, she actually just made a video about that a couple days ago about like, yeah, I
Mhm.
date men with money and they trick off on me, and that's just what it is. Um, but a lot of women, like one woman, I think I might have mentioned before in the pod before, but I found her escort site on accident. I was on Twitter and I'm like, this looks like so and so. And it was her escort Twitter page, which took me to her escort website. And it's like,
Mhm.
yo, all these trips, you're charging $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 for a dude to take you away for the weekend. You aren't just going on these trips because your hair business is oh so successful.
Mm. And it just
Are we
make it
just
seem
hating?
is that hate? I
Like, are we just
mean,
pocket watching and hating? Like,
isn't that hate? I don't know if that's hate for real.
it seemed
But
like that. I mean, that's her choice. Like,
No, and that's the thing, there's no judgment in it. But I guess, and maybe there's a little bit of hate, I don't know. But the frustration is when you portray it as, oh, I'm getting to the bag. I'm a boss. I
right.
got this business, and this business is how I live this lifestyle. But that's not
she is
true.
though. She got
But
the
she's
Well,
not
escort
telling the
business
whole
too.
story though.
Like,
But I feel
you
like
get to the
that
bag.
she's just getting to the bag differently than she claims.
She just got multiple streams of income.
I'm curious, does the same exist for men? Like, let's say there was a guy who you knew from MSU who was, you know, around your same age. You knew what he majored in. You knew he didn't major in like a field that was particularly lucrative. But
Mhm.
every time you went to his page, he was doing something crazy. And, you know, he was like courtside at the NBA finals and at the Super Bowl. And he said that he was like, let's say, an accountant. And you're like, I don't know, accountants don't make money like that.
Mm-mm.
And you knew that he was like moving weight. That's what you found out later. It's like, oh, he's an accountant by day. He moves weight at night. Would you as a man feel like, oh, he should have just been said that? Maybe not
Or put
said it, but
most definitely I'd have been like, put me on. I've been waiting for somebody to put me on to the give me a pack. Like, please. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a pack. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. But yeah, that is kind of the same token though, because like we don't. I think Rob made an interesting point. Like, yeah, it's multiple streams of income, so it's like I guess they don't really have to tell you like, oh, I'm an accountant, but also I be flipping weight. Also, I got crypto. Also, I got whatever. But it just make it crazy when you look at it and it don't seem like how, like especially if it's like, oh, I want to get like them, so I'm gonna be an accountant, and when you become an
mm,
accountant, you don't get the same money. It's like, wait, why is it why I'm not courtside?
I know a scam rapper. Like he's a rapper, but he's a scammer. That's how he makes his money. And you go to his
Mhm.
Instagram, he has a lot of followers, but nobody here has ever heard his music. I can guarantee you.
no,
Um,
there's a lot like that.
Yeah.
exactly. And you know, every time you see him though, he's like designer head to toe. He's got the chains on. He has businesses, like he has a water company, like he has these random ass businesses.
Hmm.
And it's the same thing. I'm sure as a man, you would look at it and be like, so you get no spins on Spotify. You have no views on YouTube. Like nobody's ever heard any of your music. Dog, you're a scammer. Clearly, like we know
Gotta
that's what
be.
it is. You aren't getting this money from music. It's not possible. It's the same thing when I see like girls live that lifestyle.
I think somebody that we had on this podcast was a scammer too, but I ain't gonna say no names. But something fishy with that. I'm not gonna say no names though.
Yeah,
But
there's a lot of artists that I'd be wondering how are they getting money, because I'm like, views, like it only equates to cents. So like, I just don't be
Mhm.
understanding.
you gotta be jugging
Unless they're on a
packs
label
or
or something or some type of deal or selling merch, it seems weird if they
yeah.
got all them chains on and nobody know who they are and they local.
Cause it's like, how do you
Exactly.
sell merch when you don't got no view? Like, who buying your merch if you not, you know, like how who buying it? Maybe at
Yeah,
shows
you
and
don't
stuff
see
like that.
nobody wearing it or nothing, so
Yeah, so it's
it'd
like I
be
don't know.
looking weird.
You know what? Actually, let's go ahead and intro this. It's been like damn near 15 minutes. Let me intro this damn show, man. Welcome to the Friends Podcast, man. Thank you so much for joining us. If it's your first time, thank you. We appreciate you. My name is Matt, and I'm here with my two co-hosts.
Yes, sir.
What's up, y'all? It's Jermaine.
And it's Ron. This is the Friends Podcast. Make sure you check us out. We're streaming everywhere: Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, YouTube. Also, make sure you go check out the merch store.
Most definitely check that out, man. Man, so I think we can go ahead and wrap that topic up there, went in a few different directions, but let's kind of get into our first topic today, man. So the highlight, so if you guys stick to the end, which hopefully you guys do, so we have highlights at the end of the show. We usually highlight, things that we want to share with the people, right? And so last week I highlighted Atlanta street interviews. And so Jermaine actually checked that out. And so we just kind of
Mm-hmm.
we want to open it to a bigger conversation because I mean, just to give a little background, the person that I was talking about is not well. The person that was getting interviewed is not well at all. He's a drug addict, have unprotected sex, just wild shit. Mentally not all there, but it's all for content on YouTube. Like people can go on this YouTube channel and watch it. They can laugh, they can comment, they can cry about it, they can do whatever, but somebody's making money off of this. You know what I mean? Off of this person that is very vulnerable.
It's just a
So we kind
vlog
of
of his life.
so basically what they do is the dude to go around Atlanta, he just interviews random people on the street. Like it's crazy stories that people tell about getting R-worded, getting M-worded, about selling drugs, about being on drugs, being homeless and stuff like that. So he finds
It's
people in the
video of
street.
this, or is it like him writing on this?
No, it's video. So he literally put the camera in their face and they tell their story basically.
Mm.
And they
And
go
yeah.
by their real names for the most part.
They do.
And to give more context, Atlanta Street View specifically has 132,000 followers and more than 36 million views. So it's a popular channel.
One thing I'll say about him, though, he does put the cash app of the people in there sometimes. Like, so maybe people want to donate. Like, that's cool too. But obviously, like that's that's one man's channel. And one man is getting all of the, reaping the benefits of the views and stuff like that. Is coming to his bank account.
He
And so I
should
guess
kind of redact the names or bleep the names out at least, because I don't know. These are people family that may be on the street and things like that, and people may actually know these people, grew up with them, and it'd be kind of messed up just if they aren't benefiting off of it.
And in addition to that, like you said, since their names are exposed, I would think about like what happens if this person cleans up. Like, let's say 5 years from now, this person is sober, they've started taking meds for whatever mental health conditions they might have, and now they're trying to go out for jobs. They get a job, like you don't know how this could come back to hurt them. If you would be like, yo, this is Joe Fires.
like it's him.
I remember when he was doing that on YouTube.
Right. And it's not like he has like a super uncommon or like a super common name. Like if you search up Josiah, like that's probably going to be the first thing on YouTube that comes up. So it's like, like employers can find that, people that you dating can find that, your family can find that type of stuff. And once again, like you might get clout when you in the street and people like, oh, yo, that's bro from, or that's shorty from, the interview. But like at the end of the day, how this is, how they used to say like back in the day, like once it's on the internet, it's on there. Like that's a real thing. Like this shit is here. Like it's not going anywhere. So I just
So
think
the guy who runs it, do we have his page and name, or how does he live?
Shit, he be living good. He got a cool Jeep, a Jeep Wrangler Sahara, you know what I'm saying, with the leather seats and stuff like that. He was driving one of the people around in it. He seemed like he living
So he
good.
be flexing like on the gram, like.
I mean, I ain't gonna say he flexing, but I mean, I ain't gonna say. I mean, he not doing bad at all. You know what I mean? Like he good. He's not struggling for anything. And so it just kind of looked crazy because I mean, I think it's okay to be interested in these stories, but at the same time, it just kind of feel weird because these motherfuckers be looking so down bad, be homeless and all that type of stuff. And it's like, are you letting people come and stay with you? Are you giving people tents and toiletries and things like that? Like, or are you just putting the camera in their face and just trying to ask them crazy questions? and see what kind of reaction you can get.
That's what's hard about this content because I definitely have watched it on my own plenty of times. Between soft white underbelly. There are a couple guys I see on TikTok a lot. One is Tyler Oliveira. Another guy, I don't remember his name, but he records homeless people in Arizona and like downtown Phoenix. And I think there's something to this content. Like, I personally probably haven't had an in-depth conversation with a homeless person before. So it's helpful to know, like, yo, what got you to this point? Like, what was the turning point in your life? Because from an outsider, I am like, how does that happen? Like, what's the build up to you being on the streets? Or like soft white underbelly, like what led you to being a prostitute? What led you to being a pimp? What led you to, being in a gang? I think that stuff can be helpful to know, but there's a difference between doing it in a way that's like respectful and also like super exploitative, where you're asking them like salacious questions where they literally they're not fully aware of what they're saying. Like that if they were sober and in their right state of mind, they would probably not be saying this stuff to you. But yet you still put it.
Yeah, I would hate to be online in my darkest days and just being when I'm not like all the way there and like clear minded. Like I would hate for that to be on the internet for people. Like I just look right now, another Josiah's video dropped an hour ago. So I'm actually gonna check it out even though I'm talking shit. But like it has 5.6K views already and it just dropped an hour ago. And it's like that's gonna be on there. So it's like, damn, like what is there any way to do this where is there any way to get these different types of stories where it's not exploitative? Like what would the platform need to do for it to not look crazy? I feel like it's just always gonna look crazy.
If he's giving the proceeds to the homeless, using the money to give back, charitable things like that, I would say he's doing it for a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think even if you don't give back the actual like money directly, because some of these people probably you give them money and they might just go and use it on drugs. If you give them resources to get out if they wanted to. So like soft white underbelly, I remember there were like some like a series of different girls I've seen him like kind of take under his wing a little bit. We're like, yo, if you want, I will like pay for you to get a room tonight. And I'll, take you to a job interview and I'll make sure you have gas in your car and stuff like that. Like being able to provide stuff like that, I think is important. Not seeing some of this. I think like Tyler O'Vera is one of those people. It's like, I'll give you a jug of water if we can interview you. Like a jug of water is cool, but you might make $10,000 off this video, $20,000, $30,000 off this video. A jug of 99-cent water it's not doing it.
It almost makes me think of corporate greed, like on a smaller level where, like these people, we're not going to touch on it super deep, but like the UAW auto strike, how the CEOs are making 20 something million and then the people only want like 45, but it's just like you getting so much, but you're giving so little to the people that's working for you. Like technically these people that they're interviewing are working for this channel technically. So it's like, it's kind of the same thing.
It is.
I almost feel like it's human nature to like exploit people for your own gain. Like, cause I feel like I see it everywhere. Like everybody uses people for other things,
Do you think it's possible to make a lot of money and not exploit people?
I don't know, but I want to find out though. I feel like I could do it. I feel like you would have to give away most of it though, or at least half of it, or just do a good cause, like a real good cause. But I feel like it's damn near impossible. Do you?
Yes and no. Like, I don't think you might directly be exploiting people, but the way that capitalism works, like somebody along the line more than likely is going to be exploited. So like, let's say you start a lawn care company and you're like, yo, this is a way for me to like do a service for other people and I'm going to pay them a fair rate. The mower that you might be using might have been built on exploitative labor. You know what I mean? Like at some point, exploitation probably touched the system.
with our
It's just,
clothes, food, everything.
yeah. So it's like, how direct do you want to be involved in that? To me, recording a person who is like on drugs and making money off of that, yeah, that's pretty close
Hmm.
to the exploitation, if you ask me.
Yeah, it's cool if they did it themselves. If they was on Instagram Live and was like had the phone in their own
Yeah,
face,
because that's
that's
the
fine.
thing. Josiah has shown that he's, for lack of a better term, he's a star. Like people want to see what he's doing. People want to hear him. He could low key just get on his phone and start going crazy on IG Live, YouTube Lives, whatever.
He don't got no phone. See,
It'll be a
that's the
wrap if
issue.
you got a phone.
See what I'm saying? So like that's what the issue is. Like, why has Marcus not gave this man a phone yet? Like, give this man a phone so he can really flirt. Like, and that's what make it seem like you're not really trying to help. You're really trying to help yourself. And he has done good things. I seen a story where he helped some homeless teens that was in Atlanta like get into college or something like that. That's cool. But like it looked crazy when it just looked crazy. But I do think that you made a good point though, Jermaine, where it's like we need to see these stories because this is really education. Like these are things it teaches us what not to do and what
Mm-hmm.
to do. And so I kind of want to ask y'all. I want to take this in a different direction of like how important is education to y'all, like just in a general sense, like being educated, um, and just learning on your own. Like let's talk about that real quick.
So you're talking about outside of the education system?
Well, both. I'll say
Or
both. I'll say both.
so I'm gonna relate it actually back to what we just talked about. I think the education system is important because of the stories that you see on those shows, on those programs. Um, because what you realize is like, a lot of these kids have really messed up childhoods. Like they didn't stand a chance, or they started exhibiting, behaviors that show that they had maybe some mental health issues when they were in school. And if they had a teacher who might have actually really like cared about them, they might have been able to do something. Be like, yo, let me call, get them to foster care, get them out of a neglectful home. Let me help them get a scholarship to college. Let me help make sure that they, somebody becomes aware that they have like a mental issue or that they're starting to abuse drugs young or something. But
Hmm.
when I look at a lot of people on there, I just feel like, man, you slip through so many people's cracks. And if your family's messed up, you might slip through the family crack. But ideally, as much as I don't like the current education system, I think there's a lot of problems with it. One of the things that it should be there to do is to step in when a family can't step in.
It's really a home away from home. Like this is where like how right now, like if we work in a 40-hour week, we spend a lot of our time at work. Most of our awake time at work. So like it was the same at school. We spend most of our awake
Mm-hmm.
time at school. So like this should be your home away from home. But Rod, how you feel about education? I know you somebody that I done seen you study so much and in college and stuff like that. So want you to speak on it.
I think education is important when it comes to technical at like degrees, so science, math, things like that, because you wouldn't want a doctor or a lawyer or anybody to represent you that don't have particular skills in those, and you have to actually go to school to get those skills. It's not something that I would just trust from a person off the street to do surgery or to represent me or be my accountant and do all my taxes and things like that. I want someone who does have a good education. So I think it's very important.
So do you see any flaws in like the current education system whether it's grade school, college?
I think we spend too much time on things that aren't important necessarily. I feel like a lot of things should be left to home to teach kids on. But I'm gonna say like in college, they make us do like all these prerequisite classes and things like that until you get to your degree and your classes and your actual things. And I feel like the general consensus was people they just wanted our money. They want us to all take those classes
Yep.
just to
Mm-hmm.
stack money. It didn't necessarily mean anything towards a degree or anything like that. So I think it's just like a lot of fluff. Or when it comes to like people, they say like in high school or middle school, is they're not learning proper accounting or like tax skills or things that are going to be important that they're actually going to use. Instead, we're learning about all these presidents and wars. And I'm not saying it's not important, but it's like, how is that really going to help us in our day to day and as an adult? Or like, how's that
Yeah,
going to help us buy a home or do anything of importance in our day to day life? There's a lot
Right.
of
it's like
BS.
a lot of Jeopardy facts that you won't ever use unless you're in Jeopardy.
No, that's a fact. Like I remember as a freshman in college, I had a basketball class. Like, what the fuck?
What
Why did I have a basketball class? Like I
in
was really in there hooping.
college?
Yeah, in college, I was really in there hooping like every Tuesday and Thursday. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what am I?
And the
I'm not
stupidest
going
thing is you were paying thousands of dollars to hoop.
to
Thousands.
hoop. I could have just went to the
Exactly.
fucking the community center to do that shit. Like, and it's like, I mean, and there's a lot of classes like that. That's not the buck doesn't stop there. There was a lot of classes where it was just like, what's the point of this?
I was just gonna say, one of the funniest things about like the current education system, I agree with Rod. Like, yes, there's certain like careers that are highly technical that yes, you absolutely need to be in school for. But the biggest issue with the technical or with the education system is the dialogue that we've all been sold, which is, oh, education is the way that you can lift yourself up and change your life trajectory. It's like, yes, there are absolutely cases of people who like grew up in abject poverty and through school were able to like move themselves up in life. But most people who go to school, like, I don't think that's necessarily the outcome. If you really want to change your life, a lot of time that means like, yo, you need to have a great idea. You need to start a business. You need to own something.
When I taught that, like Raj said, like learning how to buy a house, learning how to invest in real estate, learning how to invest in general, the S&P
Mhm.
500, Nasdaq, all that shit. Like I still don't know how to do all that shit. Like, and it's like these are things that I can go research independently, but I would have loved to learn how to write a check in school. I would learn, like
Shh.
I just don't understand why like the system is like this. It's almost like they're trying to hold us back from success. It gets to a point where it's like you have to realize what the fuck going on with the education system and take matters into your own hands and do your own shit. Like one of my
Yeah.
homeboys, he always be talking about like in college, I didn't need that. I just went and I wasn't going to lectures. I was just reading the textbook. Like I just did this shit on my own. So it's like sometimes you got to take matters into your own hands.
People say that all the time, but he wouldn't be reading that unless he was taking the class and had an incentive to do it. Like I feel like
Good
a
point.
lot of people say, "Oh, like I could learn this at home," and not like then go do it. Like just
Right.
just drop out and go do the shit then, if, since you can just do it by yourself and you don't need no direction. Like that, I don't like that idea. It's like most people do. They need a direction. They need some assistance, and like they need the education system. Like it's there for a reason.
I do agree. Yeah, sometimes it do be like they just hate school, so they just be saying that type of shit. And it takes a lot of motivation to really learn like a whole textbook and multiple textbooks. But I think one other thing that I think is messed up, and you kind of touched on this, is like we don't know. A lot of people don't know what the fuck they want to do too. So it's like, what
Ding, ding,
direction do
ding,
you?
ding, ding.
So it's like, how do you know which direction? Like you were asking earlier, right? Like how do you know unless you are you taught? How do you know what you want to do though, for real? Like in life, is it something that you taught? Like, do you have to experience a bunch of things, or is it like a natural thing? I don't know.
Maybe
I
that's what
think
the
you,
school system should be.
yeah,
Mm.
honestly. Because to me, I think that's how, in my opinion, I think that's how you learn what you're good at, what you can excel at, is just trying different stuff. Damn, I was gonna say something related back to what you just said about people knowing what like books they would be reading and things like that.
Mm.
I think the part that school comes into play is like most of us need an incentive to do something. Like I think a lot of people, and maybe it's because we've all grown up in school, I don't know, but like most of us need an incentive to do stuff. I remember like I used to wait to the last minute to, write research papers, and a paper that I had all semester to work on, like the night before I'm up trying to read that book and write my paper. I wouldn't have done that if there wasn't the pressure and the incentive of doing it on this particular day. So I don't know if that's something that school teaches us, which is that like we need somebody else to be accountable to, that we can't be accountable to ourselves. That's
Hmm.
potentially the issue. Um, that might be one of the flaws of the education system, is then you grow up as an adult and you don't always have the motivation to like do things for yourself if there's not a
Mm.
boss or a manager or a client over you telling you that they need these things. The other thing too that I think happens with the school system is, you said a key thing about like people not liking school. And I always wonder, because I loved school. I was always one of those kids who I liked learning. When I hear people say that like they hated school, I always wondered like, what was it about school? Was it you didn't like your teachers and the other kids in class? Or was it a matter of like you weren't being taught in a way that made sense for you? Like if you're more of a kinetic learner, or somebody who learns through visuals, or somebody who learns through sounds, like was that not being incorporated? Or maybe you were just learning subjects that you literally had no interest in. And so I wish there was a way for the education system to not only teach people and align with the way that they learn best, but also teach people subjects that they're legitimately interested in.
Yeah,
Like
that
most of
is
us
a
have to wait to
problem.
college to take classes we actually care about.
No, for sure. I definitely, yeah. I either like 12th grade or college. Like that's when I really started taking classes that was like, okay, like, other than like band and shit like that. But
And
saying
I
like,
kind of think it's designed that way for a reason because we need workers, and I think school is designed for workers. They need people to
Absolutely.
go run the companies and do all the day-to-day things, because if everyone was like free thinking and business minded, and I feel like a lot of stuff, it like our society wouldn't really be able to run if it was everyone actually doing that.
For sure.
Like there'll
It
be a
will
huge
crumble.
problem.
I heard something, I think this is like so true. They were saying that one of the differences with like how wealthy people go to college is that they prioritize networking. Like classes are second. Classes, the actual schoolwork is second. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. Like, I may not be aiming for a 4.0. I might be cool with a 3.5 because I want to make sure I'm going to parties, I'm socializing, I'm making friends with people in class, I'm connecting with people who have similar interests. And now, today, as a fully grown adult, I'm like, damn, that's what I should have been doing in college more. Because I think those relationships today would have got me much further than graduating and having a decent GPA. Like nobody cares about that. But people do care if they're like, oh, you know, so and so. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're good. You're good. Oh, I got a
mhm.
role for you.
Yeah, wait. So you wasn't? I was definitely networking in college. Not in the way that you talking about, but like I was kicking it. Like that was what I was prioritizing. Was like when we getting high, like when we getting drunk and shit like that. Like that was that was really what I was prioritizing. That shit was not good. I would
Have
definitely
that
do it
ever
differently.
actually resulted in an opportunity for any of y'all, like having a friend? Like,
Mm,
Yeah.
I
hmm.
don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't think I ever got like an opportunity, or I guess you can always, I mean, direct them in terms of this is how you apply, but
Right.
and like we got open spots, but other than that, not for real.
Well, I also think too, like, so I've had it happen a couple times, but I think we're gonna see it happening more as we get older. Like I think in the 20s, most of like our peers are still like in the same level as us, like an entry level employee, maybe mid level. I think once you get to the, your like late 30s, 40s, 50s, once it's like, oh, yo, my man is a VP at such and such company, then I think it becomes different.
Yeah, that's a good point. You know what I was thinking though? I was like, I wonder if I went to a HBCU if my network would be bigger to be able to reach and be like, oh yo, like he does this, she does this, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
because we did go to a PWI where, of course, there was networking to do and there was a black community there, but at the same time, like it was mostly white people, and I really just didn't keep those connections, after college. I didn't keep a lot of connections after college, but like definitely not with a lot of my white, counterparts there. So it was like, I wonder if that would have been different if I would have went to a HBCU where like everybody related. There was something that we could, you know, come to the table on.
Yeah.
How y'all feel about that?
I think you might be onto something because I feel like HBCUs are very big into network and like community. Like you see that all the time. Like if, you know, one FAMU person runs into another FAMU person and they didn't know each other, went their totally different years, they like look out super, super heavy.
Hmm.
I think going to like a Big Ten school and like you said, a PWI, I think it's a very different experience. And also like a lot of the people that we went to school with kind of did the same thing. Like I think at HBCUs, what I've noticed is you have a lot of people who are coming from different regions of the country, then they move out to different regions of the country, and they all kind of get into very, very, very different fields. So you might
Hmm.
have somebody who goes and works in energy and oil, somebody who goes and then goes to business school and now they're working in finance, somebody who goes and works in entertainment. Like at a school in the Midwest, you don't necessarily have people like really branching out and doing very different things.
Yeah, especially in Michigan because we got the auto
Yep.
industry. We got a big mortgage industry now. Other than that,
Mhm.
like insurance,
Yeah.
you know.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of wish like looking back, I wish I would have went to a different state or like a state where the company you want to work for is there. Because I think it's
Hmm.
more
Yeah.
likely that the company is connected to your school and then you'll be able to transition into those type of roles and those type of companies easier.
Yeah, even like
Also, like where
internships,
you want to
like
live. Yeah.
well, yeah,
Yeah,
where you want to live. But
internships.
also, yeah, like I'll go to Cal State. So like Google headquarters is there. So like, I can get an internship there for this. So like, I don't
Yeah.
know. I wouldn't do it differently if like now that I look back, but I don't regret it. But it's definitely some changes I would make. I'll say that.
Yeah. Or just things I would have considered. I think Roger made a good point about like being strategic about what state you're in. Um, I remember I didn't really learn that until I was trying to get internships. And I realized like, yo, certain companies don't even recruit at Michigan State. Like they just didn't even have a presence there. And so I
Mhm.
was cold applying on their website. And I never thought about like the relationship between where you go to school and what types of companies even are looking at you.
See, that's another thing. We wasn't taught that. We wasn't taught to even think like that. Like, right? When did you realize that like, damn, maybe I should have went to a different state just so I could have worked here? Like, when did you realize that?
I didn't really realize it until I actually moved out of Michigan and started working for different companies and talking to
Mm.
different kids and stuff like that, and well, young adults, whatever my age, and like hearing their experiences and stuff like that. And a lot of them, they work right out of college, and the college is connected to the company, and they had like different type of programs and stuff like that.
Damn,
Um, yeah, so that's kind of how like I started realizing it.
damn, I fucked up. I didn't even think about that. See, like I said, we're never taught that. So it's like, how do we even know unless we go around and talk to other people? But let's switch gears a little bit because we talked about education and stuff like that. But I think it's important for the education system to improve and for people to be educated. But what about in our relationships and stuff like that? Like, is that important in a partner? Like the education aspect?
I feel like a lot of men, they feel this way, like their counterpart, or whatever, whoever they're trying to be with, it doesn't really matter their education for real. Like I feel like most of the time we're just looking at the looks and if this person can take care of duties or things that we think we want them to do, and that differs for
Hmm.
every man, of course. But yeah,
So
what
like,
about
what
you?
we saying? Like, we saying like high school education. We saying like drop out, GED. Like, is that cool? Like, because to me, I think that's fine personally.
Which
So
one?
so
High
let's say
school?
All three of them. Like I'm cool with all three. Like if the vibe
so
is
What if
there,
they don't have it?
that's what I'm saying. Like
so she dropped out of ninth grade. She's getting
yeah.
money though. She dropped out in ninth grade. She's been a couple years trying to figure it out, and she started a cleaning business. And so she has
Mm-hmm.
a janitorial business. She's getting money, but she dropped out in ninth grade.
I feel like the only thing I really care about, like as long as they can talk and
Right.
they're not illiterate when they speak, I think we're good. That's like my borderline.
I mean, nah, I feel that. I feel that because
They can put
to answer your
sentences together.
question, yeah, as long as you can do that, like we cool. We cool. Like janitor, like in your example, Jermaine is fine. Like that's fine to me.
Okay, so when you say illiterate, like how illiterate? Like, let's say your birthday, she's like, "Oh, I really want to just write you a card, tell you how I feel." She writes you this long card saying everything you ever want to hear from a woman. Oh, you are the man of my dreams. I have so much respect for you. I just
Hmm.
want this to last forever. And you see like 3 spelling mistakes, not one period. She spelled your name
Yeah,
wrong.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
I don't
really
really
don't
care. As
know.
long as the message got across.
You would just look past it though, for real. I don't
Yeah.
think I believe. Like, come
Like
on.
as long as like she like I don't know, it's not about like her like it's just her warmness or like warmth. As long as like I can
Yeah.
feel the love, that's the
Hmm.
only thing
Okay,
that really matters. Like
that's beautiful.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that you wouldn't, because I definitely wouldn't look past it. But what I would do though, I would try to teach and be
I'll say it
like
to
I would
myself
definitely
though, for sure. I'm like, God damn.
like yeah,
Like
like
for real?
Like if you notice some of those multiplication tables were a little shaky, like she had to pull out her phone calculator for like very simple math.
5 times 5. Like you don't know that? Like come on
That's
now.
that's 22, right?
No, but okay, let me say this though, because that you just sparked something in my brain, which is like, okay, multiplication tables. Like, what about when y'all have kids and you at work and she got to help the kids with the homework? She only finished ninth grade. Is like maybe she just don't got it like that. And
She
I
never
think that
got to algebra.
yeah, so it's like those things, like those are things that I'm not looking that far ahead. But if I do look that far ahead, it's like damn, that would be kind of an issue because I want to set my kids up for success. You know what I mean? But I don't know. That's tough actually. That's actually tougher than I thought. I don't know what I would do. I think well so how about you, Jermaine? How do you feel about, education in a partner? Is it super important? Is it something that you like really look for?
Education in terms of like the piece of paper itself, the degree itself is less important, but the skills and curiosity that you should have got from education are important. So I was laughing this whole time because I remember y'all ate me up a couple weeks ago when I was talking about grammar over text,
Hmm.
periods, and using the right there, and there, and are and our,
Hmm.
things like that. That stuff, it does matter to me. Like I think you should be able to move in the world and communicate yourself a certain way. Now, do you need to have a degree to do that? No. So if somebody doesn't have a degree and they just have those basic, I don't even want to say basic because those things are more than basic, but they have those skills and they are just curious to know more, that's cool. But I think not all the time, but a lot of times what you'll see is those things kind of go together. Like you didn't really care about school, so you maybe didn't graduate or didn't go very far in school, and you didn't learn certain skills because you weren't interested in school, and you need some of those skills to be successful in life. So now you're kind of hindering your career options, hindering what spaces you can be taken seriously in the business world because you haven't developed certain skills.
So
Because
do they have to be educated or not?
They don't.
Or they don't? Okay.
They need to
but it
value
sounds like
education, but they don't have
right.
to be educated.
Yeah, it sounds like you had to have motivation to want to
learn.
learn, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
Because learning, I don't think comes from school. I think a lot of the stuff that you learn in life, you learn on your own. Reading books on your
I
own,
do
documentaries, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
museums.
I do gotta admit, like today though, like I'm just thinking about, I'm just like when I answered that question, I mean in general, but today, like, no, I wouldn't date anyone that's not educated. Nah, I couldn't do it at this point. Like me personally, like today, like it just wouldn't make sense. Like I want her to have like to be educated, like what you were saying for the family aspect of it, because I just want to look good as a unit, and I want to be
Mm-hmm.
able to have like. I actually do agree with multiple incomes, and I want a wife who actually brings money in. So,
Yeah.
like, I'm completely agree with that.
Now that should be embarrassing though. Like yo, like if your wife or husband or whatever, like just embarrassing you, just sounding stupid in front of your friends and family, like that shit is not
Thank
cool.
you.
Like
Right?
that's not like damn. I don't even know how would you do that because like you got to go home with that person and look at them every night and like sleep with them, like sleep next to them and stuff like that. And it's
I
like,
kind
can
of
you
want to be able to
even like
brag about them.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, how can you? So if you were in that situation, like, would it be cool if you was like, "Hey, don't do that." Like you know, it's there. It's not there. It's there. You know, it's might as well, not mine as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is that cool? Like, because I feel like that's okay to critique in that way because it's not in malice,
See,
but it's just like we in a unit. Got to look good as a unit.
I think men can critique their female partners, but like as a woman, I just don't think I could. A man would be accepting of me being like you said, it's not minus well, it's minus well. I think he would be like this bitch. So the moment I see those things, I'm like, I'm out. Mm-mm.
Mm, mm.
Mm-mm.
I think it's fair. Like, if somebody said that to me, I probably would be mad for a minute, but like. It's really
They
you gotta look at it as like they trying to make you look good and make the unit look good.
they call it the Pacific Ocean when you're on
Mhm.
vacation with a big group of people. Oh, are we going to the Pacific Ocean? It's like,
Like,
mm, mm.
and then the other couple that you would look at each other like,
Like, excuse me,
yo, this is crazy.
where did you
Where you
go?
find her? Yeah, like that's crazy. Yeah, nah, that's
Yeah,
not
you
good.
don't
I
want to be
do
the joke.
not at all. But at the same time though, like a connection is a connection regardless. So it's like I would hate to like give up a connection if like if we really had a connection, but like they weren't all the way there, like on the same education level that I was at. I would hate to give that up because love is love and a connection is a connection. But at the same time, looking ahead, like you gotta like what are we doing? Like you can't be at McDonald's forever. You know what I'm saying? We gotta level up at the same time.
What if she just worked at the factory or the mailroom, UPS or something like that? Or is that straight?
Factory, nah, I don't like the sound of that. I don't like the sound of factory. But UPS
Like
cool though.
a car shop. Like you work at in Michigan, there's plenty of auto, like you work for Chevy or something like that. They work at the plant. There's plenty
Nah.
of women who do that.
Like
Why don't you
go
like how
ahead.
that sounds?
I don't know, cause it's just a manly job. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like, and no disrespect to any women that do that, but like it just like you just one of the boys at that point. Like you just, I don't know if I like that. But UPS is cool though, cause
They
like it
making
just
good
made.
money though. That really bother you?
I feel like factory. I don't know, something about the factory just don't seem right. Like you talking about like on the assembly line putting parts on cars and shit like that. Like nah, man. Like,
Yeah,
I
assembly
don't
line.
want.
Like they work.
I don't want. Nah. Y'all could judge me if listeners, please judge me if you want, but like, nah, I can't. I'll probably be thinking about that, just waking up in cold sweats, like, damn, this bitch really work at the factory.
You don't want to get that discount on the Ford?
I mean, that's cool. That's cool too. That's cool too. But listen, man, I think we done goddamn been on here for a good little minute. So let's go ahead and wrap this episode up with some highlights, man. So I'll go ahead and go first if I could find something really quick. Let's see, what should I highlight today? I'm gonna try not to traumatize y'all like I did last week. So let me get some good shit
Thank
here.
you.
Um, Man, let me shout out Devin Morrison. He has a song called Tommy Strong. Um, I don't know, just a random song that I found recently, and I think he's super dope. I think he's like a songwriter from Florida, moved to LA, stuff like that. So check out Tommy Strong by Devin Morrison. What y'all got?
Ooh, okay. So I'm bouncing back between a few, but I'm gonna go with this. It is the Love Ambient, excuse me, the Black Ambient playlist on Spotify. The creator is Lovie, Lovie. If you want some good like background music, maybe something either to meditate to or to like lock in and get some work done, like dope instrumentals, this is really worth checking out. And it's cool because it's all of, like I said, ambient music, but all done by Black artists. Because a lot of times in that kind of space, you only ever see white people. So definitely worth checking out.
Hmm. That's funny because I'm looking at this. I had one of these songs on repeat the other day, which is interesting. I'm definitely
Mm.
gonna follow this one. Okay, cool. What you got for us, right?
I'm gonna go ahead and highlight Money Man. He just released his new project, Catch Me If You Can.
Yes, sir.
14 tracks. From what I heard so far, like I'm liking it. So shout out to Money Man.
Yeah, man. Shout out to that. So check out that Black. What'd you say it was called? Black.
Ambient.
So check out Black Ambient. Check out the new Money Man, and then also check out that Devin Morrison. But if you got this far, we appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much. This has been the Friends Podcast, and we out. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.